Hey everybody, Jim here with another video for you. This is the 20 favorite animated family films I have in my collection. But before I begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, leave comments below. Let me know what some of your favorite family animated films are. Now, I figured I would throw one of these videos on because quite frankly, the overwhelming majority of content that I cover on my channel does not involve family films for the most part. There's multiple reasons for that, but first and foremost, it's because I generally don't watch these movies very often now that my grandson, he's going to be 12 this year, so I don't really watch a lot of Disney movies anymore. But I do have a lot in my collection. I did a video of my collection as of about a year ago. It was one of the first videos I ever did, and it's still the most popular video I've ever done for some reason. Excuse me. So bearing that in mind, I decided to follow up on that and just kind of go through what I feel are my 20 favorite videos, or movies rather, that I have in my animated family collection. Now, I do have other animated films, but those would not fit into this category. So I'm not including any of those. Those might be on another video later down the road. But these are just 20 animated feature-length films from Disney, Pixar, and, studios like that I just wanted to run down from 20 to 1. The only thing I want to say is that this is based strictly on my own personal preference. It has nothing to do with quality of film. One thing I think everybody could agree with is every film on this list, regardless if you like it or not, they're all of the highest quality. And before we begin, I do want to give an honorable mention because I know at the end of this video, everybody and their brother is going to be saying, why didn't you include Up? And as you can see, I own it. But a peek behind the curtain, I've never watched this movie in its entirety. I watched the first 10 minutes, my heart was ripped out of my chest, and I never went back to it, even though everybody I know says that I would love this movie, and I'm sure I would. But like I said, I have not braved myself up to go through that first 10 minutes again, because again, extremely well done, but again, it ripped my heart out of my chest, so I never did go back. So that's the reason why Up is not in this countdown. But I did want to give it a mention because, again, I know for a fact I'm going to be getting a lot of people in the comments saying, how could you not include Up? Okay, starting off, number 20. And I'm not going to go into plots or anything. We're just going to jam right through this. Number 20 is Zootopia. There's a sequel to this coming out this summer, I believe. And this features the voices of Jason Bateman and Jennifer Goodwin, I believe. I know Jason Bateman's one of the main voices, but really, really cute movie. I was surprised how much I enjoyed this movie. 19 is Despicable Me, starring the voices of Steve Carell and Russell Brand, among others. Again, very cute movie. This was the movie that introduced the Minions, of course, which they've got their own franchise on their own. But yeah, again, really, really fun movie. 18, we have Wreck-It Ralph, starring the voices of John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman, among others. Alan Tudyk also does a voice in this movie. As a kid who grew up in the 80s with arcades, I love this movie. There's so many little Easter eggs in this movie directed to people of my age. As a matter of fact, when I took my nephew to see this theatrically, I heard more parents laughing during certain scenes than the kids. And yeah, like I said, Wreck-It Ralph's a lot of fun. Number 17 is Despicable Me 2. Again, featuring the voices of Steve Carell and Russell Brand. And in this movie, they are also joined by Kristen Wiig. And again, really, really cute movie. I actually enjoy it more than the first one, which is why it's ranked higher. Number 16 is Finding Dory, starring the voices of Ellen DeGeneres, among others. This is the sequel to Finding Nemo, of course, and yeah, wonderful movie, just like Finding Nemo. Really, really good movie. 15 is the Lego Batman movie, starring the voices of Will Arnett and Zach Galifianakis, among others. Also Michael Cera as Robin. Hilarious, hilarious movie. This is actually one of the best Batman theatrical movies, believe it or not. And there's an Easter egg at the very beginning where they go through all of the different theatrical versions of Batman up until this point, and it's hysterically funny. Yeah, I really enjoyed Lego Batman movie. Number 14, speaking of superheroes, let's keep that train going with The Incredibles 2. Starring Holly Hunter, Craig T. Nelson, and Samuel L. Jackson, among others. Great movie. Both Incredibles movies are awesome. And yeah, it's just one of those sequels that's just as good as the original, although the other Incredibles movie is ranked higher on my list. But yeah, excellent, excellent movie. Next, and this one I was shocked I enjoyed so much. Ratatouille. I have a lifelong phobia of rats, even cartoon rats. I don't like rats in any way, shape, or form. This movie's the exception because this is a wonderful movie. It really is. Number 12, we have Toy Story 2, starring Tim Allen, Tom Hanks, and Kelsey Grammer, among others. Again, one of those sequels. It's just as good, if not better, than the original, but the original is ranked higher on my list. I absolutely love all of the Toy Story films for the most part, but the first two especially. Number 11 is Finding Nemo, starring the voices of Albert Brooks and Ellen DeGeneres, among others. William Dafoe also does a voice in this movie. Great movie. Okay, we are at the top 10. Number 10, the classic Dumbo. Wonderful, wonderful movie all these years later. I did not see the remake that Tim Burton did. I heard it's god-awful. I generally don't like those live-action Disney remakes, but this movie's, it's wonderful. Before the problematic crows show up. But other than that, it's just a wonderful film. Number 9 is The Incredibles, the first installment of that saga. Apparently they are working on a third. And again, starring Craig T. Nelson, Holly Hunter, and Samuel L. Jackson, among others. Awesome, awesome movie. One of the best superhero movies ever made. And it's just a great movie. Speaking of great, awesome movies, next we have The Iron Giant, featuring the voices of Jennifer Aniston, Harry Connick Jr., James Gammon, Cloris Leachman, and of course Vin Diesel as the voice of the robot. This is a throwback to the old animated movies. It was a flop at the time, but it has become a beloved classic, and I absolutely adore this movie. Anybody who can watch this movie without getting a tear in their eye and a lump in their throat towards the end just doesn't have a soul. This is a wonderful film. Number 7 is Shrek, starring the voices of Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, Eddie Murphy, and John Lithgow, among others. I saw this movie 5 times theatrically, believe it or not, on my own dime. I wasn't working at the theater at the time. I just at the time thought it was one of the funniest movies I had ever seen, animated or otherwise. And again, this is another one of those movies I can watch over and over again. It's just a wonderful, wonderful film. Number 6 is the original Toy Story, starring Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Joan Cusack, among others. Great movie. Started the franchise, of course, and again, it's one of those movies that you watch it and it brings you back to your childhood when you had toys like these two and they were your whole world. And yeah, the Toy Story movies, all of them, they're just top notch. Okay, we are at the top 5. Number 5, and this was the most surprising movie on the list the first time I saw it. The Lego Movie, starring the voices of Chris Pratt, Elizabeth Banks, and Morgan Freeman, among others. Also has an appearance by Will Ferrell, both as a voice and as a human actor. When I heard that they were making a movie based on Legos, you know, the Lego movie, I immediately scoffed and said that it was the biggest cash grab piece of crap ever, and did not see it even though it was a big hit. And then when it came out on video, I rented it and immediately started kicking myself in the ass because this movie is excellent on every level. It is witty, it is smart, it is funny, it is emotional. It's just a great, great, great film. Number 4 is the Walt Disney classic, The Jungle Book. Absolutely love this movie as well. It's just a classic in every way. Again, I do own the remake of this, and as you know, the live action remake. And as far as the live action remakes go, this one is the only one that I actually like, but it doesn't hold a candle to the original animated classic. And yeah, wonderful, wonderful movie. I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but these are just classic, wonderful films for the entire family. Number 3 is Shrek 2. Again, starring Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, and Eddie Murphy, but added to the mix this time is Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots, along with John Cleese and Julie Andrews as Fiona's parents. My favorite of the Shrek films, without a doubt, and it was one of the few sequels that surpassed the original. As much as I love the original Shrek, I like this one even more. And this is just the way that these movies should be made. It's just a great movie. And Puss in Boots is one of those characters who spawned his own little franchise on his own. But that first appearance in Shrek 2 will never be beat, in my opinion. It's just so good. Number 2. And this one was number 1 on my list for years. We're talking about The Sword in the Stone. One of those Disney classics that, quite frankly, does not get the attention it deserves because it's a wonderful, wonderful film. I saw this might have been the first Disney movie I ever saw as a kid. And it immediately made me a sucker for the whole King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table story. And I have been ever since. And I watched this with my grandson when he was about 6 years old. And he loved it, and he still does. And that's one of my favorite memories, transferring the love of that I have from this movie onto him. Excellent, excellent film. Like I said, that one was number 1 for years, and I didn't think it would ever be surpassed until I saw WALL-E. Number 1 on this list for good reason. It is the best Pixar movie ever made, in my opinion. And it's one of the best animated films of all time, in my opinion. And it is definitely my favorite animated film of all time. I was talking on the recent episode of Shooting the Shit with Jim with my good friend Dan about this movie, and I said every time I watch this movie, I transport into being a 4-year-old because that's how this movie makes me feel. It makes me laugh. It makes me cry. It brings me excitement. It brings anxiety. It's just a wonderful, wonderful film that I will watch numerous more times. Doesn't matter how old I am. I just absolutely adore WALL-E in every way, shape, and form. So to recap, number 1 is WALL-E. Number 2 is The Sword in the Stone. Number 3 is Shrek 2. Number 4 is The Jungle Book. Number 5 is the Lego Movie. Number 6 is Toy Story. 7 is Shrek. 8 is The Iron Giant. 9 is The Incredibles. 10 is Dumbo. 11 is Finding Nemo. 12 is Toy Story 2. 13 is Ratatouille. 14 is The Incredibles 2. 15 is the Lego Batman movie. 16 is Finding Dory. 17 is Despicable Me 2. 18 is Wreck-It Ralph. 19 is Despicable Me. 20 is Zootopia. And as an honorable mention, Up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, leave comments below. Let me know what some of your favorite animated movies are, and I would love to hear from you in the comments below. So until the next time, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one.